To recap from last week, for your gestures, try to incorporate those curves against a curve. So she's got this nice curve from her head down that torso, and then a counter curve from that waistline down this leg. Okay, you want to incorporate any of these curves against a curve, or even curves against a straight, wherever you can, because they're aesthetically pleasing to the eye. It creates a natural flow to the pose, a kind of rhythm to the pose, and overall a lot of movement within the figure. So you can practice getting comfortable making those curves. On your newsprint, you can, do a chain like this, so that you get a little bit more comfortable making those curve against a curve, or even a curve against a straight. When you're doing this, try to get your whole arm into it. Don't do it with your wrist, because that can make your figures very tense and tight, because it's a little bit more tense when you're drawing with your wrist. So when you're drawing with your arm, you're going to feel that movement overall throughout your body, and you're going to make it a lot more, rhythmic. Now, if you wanted to draw a more awkward pose, of course it would make sense that your pose is a little bit more tense, a little bit more awkward, and you would feel that in your own body as you're drawing it. But most often it's more common that we're going to draw a pose that feels more natural, more relaxed, more aesthetically pleasing, something that's going to look artistic. So you want to include those curves throughout the body. So how would we do this pose? You want to start from your head. And remember, always exaggerate. Tilt that head more than you think it should be, because it's going to turn out just fine. Your brain wants to make things straighter than they are, and so throwing that head more angular will actually you're correcting that. You're correcting how your brain wants to make it way straighter. I'm adding the angle of the shoulders, and then I'm going to go down and feel what those arms are doing. And then again, feeling from the head down that torso, nice curve, and then a counter curve for the body. Okay. So this would be a very simple gesture. It only took me a few seconds to do this, but overall I can feel, I'm planning the overall movement of the pose. How from head to toe, what are the aesthetically pleasing curves and straights of this pose. From here, you can check your proportions and add more details. So this is the very bare essence of the pose. And from here, you can add a little bit more information. So make sure you've got the guidelines to the face. You want to know, which way was their head turned. Okay, if you can include a jawline, that might be even more helpful later on to really figure out which way the head was turned. You can add an ear as well. Make sure you can clearly see the neck. You want to plan out that torso. A lot of times you'll find some identifying curves to help you draw that torso. So she's kind of got this belt on that's curving in this way. And so that means her torso is a little bit leaning forward. Okay, checking your proportions. We're going to go 1, 2, 3 to the torso, 4 to the bottom of the pelvis. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Always double check, because your hand moves a lot, things can change. Most beginners have head sizes that are too large. So instead of redrawing the whole thing, just shrink your head a little bit. Try to stick to your original gesture. Try not to change very much of it. And if they're wearing clothing, you can do a gesture of the clothing as well.